Many people think of deserts as hot, sandy places. They imagine camels walking across endless dunes. But here's a surprising fact. The world's largest desert is not the Sahara. It is Antarctica, a land covered in ice and snow. Antarctica is bigger than Europe and almost twice the size of Australia. Most of it is white and frozen all year, but despite its icy appearance, it is still a desert. How can a place so cold and full of snow be a desert? The answer lies in what makes a desert. A desert is not just about being hot and sandy. In fact, it is all about how much water falls from the sky. If a place gets very little rain or snow each year, it is a desert, no matter how it looks. So, when we look at Antarctica, we must see beyond the ice. We must ask, how much water does it get each year? Why is it so dry, even though it is covered in snow? Let's discover the secrets of this icy desert. What really makes a desert? Most people picture hot, sandy places, but that's not always true. The real secret is dryness. A desert is any place that gets very little precipitation: rain, snow, sleet, or hail. If a place gets less than 250 millimeters, or about 10 inches, of precipitation a year, it's a desert. That's why Antarctica, with all its snow and ice, is still a desert. It gets less precipitation than almost anywhere else. Most of its water is frozen, locked up as ice, not in rivers or lakes. When people think of deserts, they often picture the Sahara. The Sahara is the largest hot desert on Earth. It is famous for its golden dunes and scorching temperatures. But the Sahara is much smaller than Antarctica. Antarctica covers about 14 million square kilometers, or 5.4 million square miles. The Sahara is about 9 million square kilometers, or 3.5 million square miles. This means Antarctica is over 1.5 times larger than the Sahara. Even though the Sahara is hot and dry, Antarctica is even drier in many places. What makes these two deserts different? The answer is temperature and type of precipitation. The Sahara is hot, with very little rain. Antarctica is freezing cold, with very little snow. Both get little precipitation, but one is icy and the other is sandy. So, next time someone asks you about the world's biggest desert, you can surprise them. The answer is not the Sahara, but the frozen continent at the bottom of the world, Antarctica. You might wonder how much snow actually falls in Antarctica each year. Well, the answer is not very much at all. Most of Antarctica receives less than 50 millimeters, or about 2 inches, of precipitation every year. That's actually much less than most deserts in Africa or Asia. In fact, the heart of Antarctica is one of the driest places on Earth. This lack of precipitation is what makes Antarctica the world's biggest desert. It's not about the heat or the sand, it's the dryness, the incredibly low amount of water falling from the sky. So, what makes Antarctica so dry, even though it's surrounded by oceans? First, the air over Antarctica is extremely cold, and cold air simply can't hold much moisture. When the air is dry, clouds don't have enough water to turn into snow or rain. Second, Antarctica is actually very high up. The continent is covered by a thick sheet of ice, making it the highest continent on average. Higher places have thinner, colder air, which means even less moisture. Third, strong winds sweep across the icy surface. These winds push away clouds and moisture, keeping the air even drier. Sometimes the winds are so powerful that they can actually blow snow right off the ground, making the land look even more bare. All of these things together make Antarctica extremely dry. It's a frozen land where very little new snow falls each year, and the old snow just stays for a very, very long time. When snow does fall in Antarctica, it doesn't melt away like it does in warmer places. Instead, it stays put on the ground. Over time, more snow falls on top, pressing down the older layers. This pressure gradually turns the snow into solid ice. Year after year, this process keeps going. The snow keeps building up, creating a thick ice sheet that covers the entire continent. In some spots, the ice is more than 4 kilometers thick. That's about 2.5 miles, which is actually taller than many mountains. Because it's so cold, the snow doesn't melt away. It's trapped there for thousands, even millions of years. That's why Antarctica has the largest ice sheet in the world. So, every snowflake that lands in Antarctica becomes part of a long, ongoing story. It joins with other snowflakes to create the thick, white blanket that covers the land. And this blanket isn't just beautiful, it's a record of Earth's climate history. Here's another amazing fact. About 70% of all the fresh water on Earth is stored in Antarctica's ice. This frozen water is locked up in the giant ice sheet, just waiting quietly in the cold. If all of Antarctica's ice were to melt, it would raise sea levels around the world by more than 50 meters. That's about 165 feet. That would completely change the shape of every continent. Luckily, the ice is very stable and melts very, very slowly. But not all of Antarctica is covered in ice. There are special places called the McMurdo Dry Valleys. These valleys are some of the driest places on Earth. They have no ice or snow, and it almost never rains there. Scientists are really fascinated by these valleys because they're a lot like deserts on Mars. So, when we call Antarctica a desert, we're talking about its dryness, not its temperature. It's the world's coldest, driest, and most mysterious desert, a land of ice, holding secrets from the ancient past.